Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Maria Davis is a medical intuitive and spiritual mentor to conscious and evolving women seeking the depths of divine truth, mind, body, and soul. Maria teaches and guides her clients to a place of stability, peace, and balance. She teaches how to access intuition and all about unique energy pathways. Her approach is simple, practical, and down to earth. With over 30 years of teaching, she has some inspirational stories to tell. Maria embodies the Divine Mother Earth energy and gives the biggest, most loving, connected hugs. All the way from Melbourne, Australia, let's welcome Maria to the show. Hi, I'm Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show, where we co-create powerful, conscious conversations on the leading edge. Today I have Maria joining me, and we're going to be talking about your body's ability to heal itself. And it's just a matter of finding the tools that are right for you. We're also going to be talking about some really cool body parts and systems and things that have always fascinated me. So we're going to be talking about the adrenals, the pineal gland, and something that I think a lot of people struggle with, which is weight. So welcome, Maria.
Oh, thank you, Angela. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, so, okay, first, you are a medical intuitive, so why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your background, how you started, how did you know you were a medical intuitive or that you wanted to go down this path, and what exactly that means?
It was innate. It was an innate ability. I could always read bodies from a young age, but I wasn't quite discerning at that point, and I was very sensitive. I'm a sensitive soul, and I decided to negate all of that growing up. It's like, no way, I'm not having anything to do with that. So I would focus in on my aunt saying that they're unwell, and I'm going, but where? I can't see any spots that are unwell. But it's only now that I'm figuring that out, and it's like that. Goodness me, it's that attention, and then I would see other people down the street and I'd notice colours or darkness or things in their bodies, but it's only now that I'm realising that that is actually a thing. And then I studied, when my children went back to school, after I had my children, they went off to school, and I started to study again. I started to study anatomy and physiology, and I went down the path of studying the body and knowing the form and function and how it operates in gravity, and really relishing and really being passionate. Oh my God, if we've got a footache, maybe that affects our head. Really? How? So I became a personal trainer, a gym instructor. I watched people move, thousands of people move. I became a Pilates instructor. So that is all about the thinking body. So it's how does someone think and become well where someone doesn't think that particular thought or have trust in their body to become well. So I sort of watched the evolution of that happen. Then it wasn't until I became a remedial massage therapist that before the client came in, I knew where I had to work. And I thought, well, that's my training. Doesn't everyone do that? And no, not everyone does that, right? It's like, oh, this must be a thing. So I did that for a while, and I thought that was really interesting. I became to notice that my ability to really focus in on that pain point or that musculoskeletal dysfunction or even the organic dysfunction was really quite pronounced, and not a lot of my colleagues were doing the same thing, so I was different. So I shied away from it because no one wants to be really different.
Right.
Unique is probably a better word. Now I'm unique. And then I went, my friend who's a kinesiologist was going to, I went to her for a kinesiology session. She goes, I'm going to do medical intuition. I go, I want to do it. I got in the car, booked my spot, flew interstate and became a medical intuitive. And at that moment, I was home.
Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah.
love that. It's so wonderful when we can finally put words to something that we have a natural innate ability to do. And so I love that story because I imagine that there's people that are watching and listening that maybe feel like, oh, they don't want to stand out, or they have abilities that not everybody else necessarily can do, right? And they're like, well, where do I fit in? So thank you for sharing that.
I honor that because that is exactly my story and my journey. And it's that moment of truth when you come home. And the healing is about coming home. And
Yeah,
our home sits in our heart.
right. So let's talk about this coming home. And really, when we take a look at our bodies and our functioning, there's an emotional and a spiritual component, not just physical. So, how does this all weave together to create either wellness or disease?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this the last couple of days, and it's that our moment of fear is neutrality. It's the moment that we don't feel anything in our body that we fear,
Hmm.
because that's like, but that's where we want to go. We want to wake up in homeostasis with no aches and pains. And I always speak about aches and pains as your body speaking to you. So your lethargy is your body speaking to you, but your lethargy is marred with so much mud on top that you can't get to the source. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I say, please, please, you don't need to continue that. Go and seek something or do meditation is the number one thing. Forgiveness is the number two thing that I give clients, and chakra cleansing, clearing is three. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets those. But it's like imagine waking up and bouncing out of bed with enough energy to do what you need to do without feeling any aches and pains. And if anyone does that, please let me know because not a lot of my clients do. And as we age in gravity, that's going to become less and less. So as a
Mm-hmm.
young person, young people, adolescents, they will work with their hormonal imbalances and they will have that lethargy because conditioning, they like to sleep in. They need to wake up early, and that sort of they wake up and they're until they actually wake up, right? Until their body wakes up. They should start at 12 o'clock and they'd be fine, like midday. And then
Sometimes
as
that
we
sounds like me. It's like
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
really a morning person.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the circadian rhythm that
Mm-hmm.
if we noticed our circadian rhythms and worked with them as opposed to working with conditioning, and I'm saying, some of us have to get up early and go to work and then some of us work late as well. So we choose entrepreneurship, so we work different hours. So it works with our circadian rhythms. So not everyone knows their circadian rhythms. There's beautiful Chinese books that work on clock. Whenever
Mm.
you wake up in the middle of the night, that's what organ is affecting you. So
Oh,
that's something
interesting.
that, yeah, you want to look into. And I could get a link for you. It's documented. Yeah, so if we worked with that, coming back to our 0 point, which is the heart, if we look at the body, if you cut a line down the middle and then cut a line across, the X and Y axis is actually a 0 point, and that's our
Mm.
heart. And that's where we want to be in homeostasis. We want to be left and right balanced. We want to be masculine and feminine balanced. We want to be upper and lower balanced, grounded and inside balanced. And I think that's part of our journey.
Yeah. Well, I love that you say that because I've never really considered. I've often thought about the right and left, but I haven't really thought about the top and bottom, and the front and back. And I know that, oh gosh, probably about 6 months ago on the show we talked about um, bringing in the energy from the back of the chakras. because we're pushing our energy out or we're sharing our energy out through the front, but often we don't take the energy in through the back of our chakras.
Yeah, and I love that because this is such a valid point, and we're always forward thrusting. If we go back to Pilates or training, the musculature that's the strongest is our forward muscles. The back muscles are our weakest, so we need to do things like extensors, and really, we don't really extend in life. So extension, if you look at extension, and I promise not to show you my boobs, if you look at extension, it's actually the sternum, the heart opening up to receive. Because we're giving. This is our giving channel. Our receiving channel is the back, and most of that gets stuck energetically as well
Sure.
as well as physically, because that's where our wings are. You know, people with frozen shoulders, they're not flying.
Yes, talk about that because I've heard a lot about frozen shoulders lately.
Yeah,
So,
so if you think of your scapula, this is your scapula. This is the motion of your scapula. So this is quite common, but this is not common. So people don't do that, right? They're either stuck in this position.
yeah, with their shoulders up around their ears.
Yeah, so if you can feel my hands, they're like the wings, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we need to do more of as human beings, not human doings. So
Right.
it's just being in the essence of all the flow. So frozen shoulder is adherence from underneath the scapula. The muscle underneath doesn't get worked a lot. It atrophies, then it sticks the shoulder down, and then you can't lift.
Yeah.
Because
So,
you cut, and part of the energetics of that is you're not flying. Shoulders are all about being heavy, burdened with responsibility. And these are general. We can work individually and dig stories out. That's what I do. But generally, being burdened, oh my God, I'm so responsible for everything. But what about if response to what you get is actually a gift? You know, being responsive as opposed to being responsible.
so you mentioned the right and left. We have a masculine and feminine. So just using this as an example, the shoulders. So if someone is experiencing like a tight or a frozen shoulder on the left side, what is that? And then what is the right side? What do those represent?
Can I talk about the masculine first? Because
Sure.
that's the one that represents mostly. The masculine is about push, push, push. I'm a martyr. I need to carry it. I need to feel it. I need to do it. It doesn't really resonate with me. Oh my God, this is my lot in life. If you think of all that punishment that we
Yeah.
do, right?
Yeah.
And then regardless of all of that, you don't change any of those thought processes. And it might be your conditioning, it might be past lives, it might be how you present in the world, but it's something. If you don't become conscious to those thoughts, or I want to say if we don't become conscious to those thoughts, because we all have them, then there's gonna be a burden there. There's gonna be a dysfunction or a disease. The left one is like that mimicking. You're not taking that divine feminine, and you're not really enjoying that process of being a female, of saying no when you mean no, of sort of like that pushover. Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting small. Atrophy is about getting small.
Sure.
So when we age, we shrink, right? Because society doesn't really appreciate age, although let's speak more about this because maybe we start appreciating in the wisdom of it. But it's that getting small, and gravity takes over too, and we get small. But we need to keep our spine mobile.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of small, we talked earlier before we started recording about the thymus gland. getting smaller. So talk about what is the role of the thymus, where it is, and what happens when it is getting small.
Thymus is about immune function in childhood, and it's huge when we're children, and it reduces in size in adulthood. You actually mentioned before we started about the high heart, and it is the high heart. So how do we and oh, I was going to do that thumping. Oh, yeah. I was going to do the thumping. So what you thump and activate the high heart. So if you're in a stressful situation, it's part of your immune system when we're young, but when we're young, it's big. It's like this, right? Mm-hmm. Does that look like a heart to you?
Yeah. It does.
So it looks like, and then it gets covered with fat as we age. So we want to wake it up. So it shrinks and gets covered with fat. So we want to wake it up, and we want to have the ability to, and it de-stresses us.
So if it helps with immunity in children, does it also help with immunity as adults? Do you know?
Well, that's an interesting question. Let me say. Oh, I want to say yes.
Maybe we need to wake it up first.
We need to, yeah. It's like, oh, I have a high heart. I have you know how many people forget they have a heart? They forget that they're a beating heart. The 4 quarters of the heart represents the 4 quarters of the globe. The 4 quarters of the heart represents the 4 seasons. The 4 quarters of the heart is northwest, east, south, all the elements. 4 is the heart number. You know, if we look at numerology, it's 4 is the heart, is coming together, you know, coming home to our heart. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I know there's so much more I'd like to say, but I don't know what else to say, so I won't. But it's the thymus is one of those really complex and simple, because it's born big when we're born, and I have a theory: we're perfect when we're born, we're perfect when we die, and in between we try and find perfection. So what about if we woke up that higher heart that we're here? And the higher heart is actually another chakra, which I'd have to get the name of. There's some new chakras that are coming out. So there's the throat chakra, and then we have the heart chakra underneath. So there's some new ones.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so you said that it covers with fat, so that's like the perfect lead-in to weight gain and the adrenal function. So I'm kind of mushing them together, so maybe we should like separate the two. But, you know, well, you take it away. So
we're going to go into some healing there. I could see that.
I am a willing guinea pig. Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about weight.
Yeah, I think it's our bodies protecting us from all those elements and all the fears that we've brought up throughout our life. So as we age, we struggle more, or we wake up and there is some action that we need to do, but there's also some insight and thought process that we need to work through, because the weight is a protection mechanism. The weight is protecting us. It's also that, if you can't get it right, I'm just going to hold you in position. So the weight is actually grounding as well. So the weight grounds you. I speak to a lot of healers and myself, is after we do any sessions, we need to eat. So what do you choose? What are we planning to do? And I think as we age, it is a re-education process, because our body does change. So what is it changing to? So let's get some insight into that weight. So weight, if you look at fat, it just sort of sits there. It's like, sort of sits there, right? And abdominal fat is the one that's quite dangerous, because it's around the organs. As we age, that gets quite dense. Mm-hmm. So how do we reduce it? I've been looking at, and I'm with you, Angela, because I'm at the process. I almost feel, and I used to think, now this is really interesting, because I used to think about losing weight. Now I feel like I'm ready to release it, because I'm actually safe. So if you're feeling unsafe in whatever you're doing or wherever you are, or, there's a bit of push involved, check in with that. Why is the weight there, and what are you protecting me from? The other thing is ask your guides, what can I do to create or to release this weight? Every full moon, I release the weight. It's like every full moon for the last 12 months, I'm releasing the weight. Please, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I release it like it's already gone. Thank you. And I have my optimum weight in my head. So it's like, and I've suffered from disordered eating. So it's something that's been coming up. And a lot of what's been happening for me and some of my clients is karmic debt has been coming up, and shame, which has kept the weight on. So shame is part of that. And it may not be a shame from this life. It may be a shame from your parents or your ancestors or other lives. So let's work on shame. And it's so uncomfortable to work with shame.
Right.
How uncomfortable is it to sit in shame? Now, I did this just a couple of days ago because this big thing came up, and it's like so hard to sit in shame. And you can feel my shame now, right? You can feel it. And it comes up because it's something that I'm used to, and that will happen for a lot of my clients too. So the idea, how do we release it, is feeling it, taking a deep breath in, and then really visualizing, what color is it? And it's not from this time. It's not from now. Because what do we have to be shameful of? We live in integrity. Intellectually it doesn't make sense, but emotionally it's still there. So let's release it. How do we release it? Through meditation, through color, visualizing the color of it, giving it maybe a little bit of a solid form, and every time it comes up, if that solid form is still there, just release, breathe it out, really focusing in on where it sits in your body, so that will sit in that, protection that's here. So releasing it and bringing in the white light. And when you release it, replace it with white light, so that you are replacing it with that energy, that feeling of bringing in that more than us, that thank you, thank you, thank you, I'm here to serve. I'm here to be of service to myself, and everyone should be of service to themselves first. Sacred, honoring yourself and then honoring everyone else. That's not how we're trained.
Right. So I would love, because I imagine that there are many people that are watching and listening that can relate to this. So can you walk us actually through that step, that process? And, we can use, I'm happy to use myself as the example. So, and then people can follow along as we're doing it. Is that okay?
Oh, I'd be honored. This is really sacred work. So just take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and just come into your body and ground. And you can almost just really go into your body and feel the heaviness. And then let me know if you see a colour, Angela. Can you tell me if there's a colour present or a shape?
Yes. Actually, an elephant came to mind.
Okay.
An elephant... Huh?
The elephant is quite a sacred, and I used to think of myself like that. And the elephant is quite a sacred animal.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yes. So,
Goosebumps.
their legs, just how they're shaped. I don't know, that just came to mind. And then the color was kind of like a greenish yellow.
Oh, beautiful. So you're ready. That greenish yellow tells me that you're ready to release it. So it's that empowerment and heart together. Yeah. So let's just stay there and really feel the heaviness, and then take a deep breath in. And then with the heaviness, what do we get by being heavy? What does the elephant get by being heavy?
It's very grounding. It's
Mm.
yeah, solid, like planted into the earth.
Mm. So take a deep breath in, and you know, I'm grounded, I'm planted into earth. I almost want to put in, I'm strong, I'm a mammal. And then sit up a little taller and receive some white light from above. We're receiving through the crown chakra, third eye, through the throat, the heart, solar plexus, sacral and root, and right through to your legs, down to earth star chakra. Now I want you just to release the weight to Mother Earth. Release the heaviness to Mother Earth and really honor the strength and the sacredness of the elephant. And it's almost like a waterfall coming through, releasing. Mother Earth is ready to catch everything and transmute it for pure energy for the earth. And then with that, replace the weight or the energy integrated in the weight, replace that with white light energy. So just bring in some more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 100,000 angels, guardians, and spirit guides that are present today. Please support us in releasing the weight, the heaviness of the weight, and honor our body as a vessel for our soul. Take your hand and place them on your heart. Notice which hand goes underneath and above, and I'll speak to that in a minute. Really honor and love all of you that is present today. Angels and guides, bring me a healthy body, healthy choices, healthy mind, healthy soul. Take a deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, coming back.
Wow.
And there's almost, I sort of felt a tinge of sadness there. There's a tinge of sadness. And the sadness is that we're addicted to struggle, right? So,
Right.
it was when I was about 20, I go, what would happen if I didn't worry about the weight? I'd have nothing to worry about. I just wanted to flag that just in case some people are in that boat. Because life is perfect. Life is simple. We complicate it. And I put my hand up. What would happen if things were perfect, just perfect as they are? Would we make I'm thinking that I'm feeling action is involved too, but what would it take? What would it take? Angels and guides, please let me know, what would it take? Journal. What would it take for me to be at my optimal weight? And really have a focused goal. What would it take? And journal that. And that was just the start of the release. It's about that honoring and loving our bodies today as they are, not wishing your weight away, just honoring. And the more we honor, the less we need to carry it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I'd have to give up is the comfort from eating. Like because I know that I am a stress eater, an emotional eater. So, and I also use it as a grounding tool, in a way. So
Yeah.
I'd have to
Yeah.
give
So
that up.
I,
I,
I'm with you, Angela. I have to give that up too. But I'm thinking, yesterday I was thinking, what can I do instead of eating? Because eating is so much fun.
I know
It
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 tastes
really
good. And
is. It tastes good. There's that sensation, and we could probably do another show on eating and sensations. But it's like, I could talk forever. It's part of our so, social connectedness. If we look at anthropology and all our social ancestors, the community collects around the pot. How do we replace that today? And knowing that we have so many choices today, so how do we make our choices a little more healthier and more sacred to ourselves? Do I
right.
really need that Nutella donut sitting on my bench that my husband brought home from a bakery for my son? I hope he eats it soon. But hey, that's another issue. But,
Yeah.
do I really need my adrenals yell out for salt. So this is the other thing. Adrenals will yell out for salt. If your adrenals are heightened, like if your adrenal function is cortisol is coming in thick and fast and you're in flight mode, which, there's a lot of people out there, you'll be asking, your body will crave for salt. So it's another way of replacing that salt, because salt evens you out. Another way of replacing that salt is to have a salt bath, to
Yeah.
do a salt scrub. What is fun, and this is something that I'm working on, what is fun to do besides eating? Because I'm Italian, and eating is
Yeah.
part of the culture, right? And it's part of many, many, many cultures. So what do I do, and how do I turn on that valve of fullness? It's that having that intuitive insight. So if you are looking for groundedness in food, is there an option to stop and say, do I need food or do I need something else? Do I need to ground? Is there an option? And this is a behavioral pattern that you might, and that I'm working on too. So I'll put my hand up, and a lot of my clients are. The other thing to have around is an appetite crystal. I love the idea that appetite crystal is actually for appetite.
Yeah.
Like, I love synergies in life. So get yourself an appetite crystal, either green or blue, and that will help
Wow.
with the metaphysical of the elements. So have it in your kitchen, in your bedroom, wherever you eat.
It's funny
I
you say that because I, at one point, had created a mala necklace completely out of that.
So wear it again, like a little bracelet too.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
um, yeah. There's a few other crystals that work with weight loss, but appetite is the main one. I just think that's so funny.
It is funny. I hadn't heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah,
it's interesting that you say that with the adrenals, that your body, you'll be craving salt. And so, it's really, I think that's just a reminder to really pay attention to what it is that we are craving, because there's a reason why we're craving it, not just for the
absolutely.
comfort, but so you said if your adrenals are like kind of stressed and on overdrive, you're gonna crave salt.
Yeah.
What? Why would I be craving sugar other than the addictive quality of sugar? I tend to
Well,
be more of a sugar person.
yeah, sugar, it works with the pancreas and the liver and insulin, and it's also a habit driving. Sugar is one of the most addictive things in our lifetime. It's also the permeability of the gut. When we have the processing of the sugar goes straight through, and the permeability is like leaky gut is, and then it also gives you that high, that sudden rush. So if you're low in energy, you have a sugar fix and it's that high, you know, it metabolizes quickly, it turns into fat, yeah, it
I
doesn't
know.
give you any nutrients, but hey, that's another, you know, I'm not a nutritionist, but energetically, the sugar will support that oral fixation, that mouth, you know, think about your throat, your heart, your sacral, and also your solar plexus, and which is all about the gut. And then think about the gut permeability, what nutrients are actually staying in the gut and changing into energy rather than, you know, are being eliminated. And insulin, you know, where are you needing the sugar, the carbohydrates because of your insulin levels? Your pancreas. Pancreas is so interesting. Pancreas, you know, pancreas is another part of the adrenal function, and it's insulin. And insulin helps us survive energetically. It's an energy boost.
Yeah. So for people that are not familiar with like the signs of like adrenal fatigue, or like talk about what are some signs and symptoms that your adrenals need some attention.
If you're tired all the time, and if you're reactive, you know, those old patterns that you don't know, you've worked on those old patterns of being reactive to. I find the extreme happens when your adrenals in flight mode. You'll go into extreme, like someone would have left the door open. You go, you go, it's only a door. You could get up and close it, right? But you just go, you go into your extreme. So your reactions or your responsiveness is extreme, and it's outside of your own character. It might be like, I don't even think it's an old pattern. It's just like that extreme. So it's either extreme lows, so withdrawing, or extreme highs, even extreme highs where you're out and about and then you come back and you're just flat as a tack because you've used up all your protective cortisol, that fight or flight mode. Mm-hmm. They're the primary things. Let's see.
What about like foggy? Is it foggy brain? Does that also?
Yeah, foggy brain, yes, but it's also, that's to do with leaky gut as well because you're not getting the nutrients that you need. So foggy brain is to do with leaky gut, adrenals as well.
And then also like that that feeling of like being really jittery, but you haven't had coffee.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yeah, because that's that extreme, you know, your nervous system is on and it wants to regulate itself through the adrenals. So the adrenals just sit as a little pea shape on top of the kidneys, and the kidneys are our relationship to ourselves, right? So if we're on our kidneys, our adrenals, you know, honor that sacredness of our energy. You know, when you're doing, I find the flight and fight mode comes in is when you're doing a lot and you haven't taken that time to really come back and integrate yourself. So we need to, and you don't sleep, and sleep deprivation is another thing that happens with adrenals. You don't get enough sleep. That happens with most autoimmune diseases too. You know, you're frequent waking up at night.
I'm glad you're enjoying today's episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I want to take just a moment to thank all of the listeners and viewers who've donated to the show, because the Awakened Goddess Show is community supported. That means it's 100% donation based. So if the show has been meaningful for you, it's inspired you, or has been helpful in any way, I ask you to support the show. All donations go towards producing the show, keeping it on the air, as well as keeping the archives available free anywhere in the world. So thank you for your contribution and everything you're doing to support the Awakened Goddess Show. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You can go to theawakenedgoddess.com/donate to show your support. And if you're not able to donate financially today, there are many ways you can support the show. You can share the show with your community, subscribe, and leave the show a 5-star review on iTunes. Because without your help, the show wouldn't be possible. Now let's pick up where we left off. Back to the show.
The endocrine system actually speaks to the nervous system. And if we come back to the very first thing we mentioned when we're talking, is like, if your nervous system is relaxed, then all of these other things are relaxed too. So your stress levels are down, you're walking your path, you're walking tall, so your spine is open. Did you know the Kundalini channel is beside your spine as an energetic channel? So the Kundalini starts from the root chakra and goes up through the crown chakra like that. And it's sort of, it's goosebumps, amazing. So if we can open that channel, did you know that the heart sits on top of the nervous system? So there's a conduit, there's a big fat tube that goes into your spinal canal, which is your nervous system up and down. You know, if we keep our heart regulated, we really speak to our heart like, what am I feeling? A lot of us don't feel. A lot of us don't. There's not enough knowing of where we want to go, what our goals are. Most people know what they don't want, but ask them what they want, and they don't know. It's like have an idea of your outcome. Did you know creative visualization is to do with the pineal gland and the zeal of consciousness? You know, there's a straight line. Receive the sunlight, receive the conduit, receive that intuition, receive those messages.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to the pineal gland in just a second, but it sounds like really divine self-care is what is needed to really support our adrenals. And I had no idea that the adrenals were right close to the kidneys, and that the kidneys were all about.
They sit on top. They just sit on top. They're like that size, and they sit on top.
But it's for that amazing to be like the relationship you have with yourself, with the kidneys, wow, it's incredible how the body systems are designed. I mean, how it all works together. It's just like
I'm like, the body is a miracle. We are a walking miracle. Let's hug. Oh my God, I love me. I love this body. Let's take care of it. Because of all the things that we think about it. And I'm with everyone else. Like, I've beat myself up because I'm not thin enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that. Really? I'm here. I'm perfect. Right. You're here. You're perfect.
We're walking,
it took
breathing.
a million ancestors to make us. If we go back 20 generations, I heard this on a podcast the other day, and I thought it was quite interesting. It took a million generations to make us, if we go back 20. So it took a million people to have sex to make us. So there's a lot of love in the world, right? To come to us. That's 20 lifetimes ago. So interesting.
A lot of love.
A lot of love, yes. And, Wayne Dyer says it well, because just the thought that we were born, just the fact that we're born, just the fact that we're conceived. I've worked with a lot of infertility people, and they can't conceive. Just the fact that we're conceived is a miracle. This body is pretty amazing.
That's right.
Your body. Everybody's body is pretty amazing.
Yeah, just revel in that. So you had mentioned pay attention to which hand is on top. So I'm curious with my right hand. My right hand was closer to my heart than the left.
Yeah, so you're going to do something about it, right? The masculine is about doing, the sacredness about doing. The left is about divine feminine, divine masculines here. And there is a divine feminine, divine masculine. We need to marry the two. We need to take action. It's not only thinking, but we need to do, and we need to be. What is it? Be, do, have.
So if the left hand was on the bottom and the right hand was on top,
yeah.
You're just going to think about it and feel about it for a little while longer?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it, yes. Yeah, I find that a lot of us healers are up here. We need to ground more. We need to go into action. We need to be practical about that practicality of living in this world, because I'm all for mysticism and metaphysics, but I'm also, how is it grounded in our body? And that's what I work with. How do we ground things? How do we ground the mysticism, the metaphysical work, and trust that that's what's coming into our bodies?
Yeah, and then for the adrenals, something that I've found useful, and this is not advice or anything, but is magnesium, like either the liquid magnesium supplements, or there's a product called Calm. I've been taking that, and I find that that really helps regulate me personally to because my adrenals for I don't know how many years, like 20 years, have just been like on overdrive.
Yeah,
So,
mine too. So I was taking a supplement called Adrenotone, and of course check with your providers and your nutritional experts. But Adrenotone was and a magnesium. I was taking some magnesium. You can actually rub magnesium through the skin as well if you don't like to take supplements. Your skin is your biggest organ. The other thing is get enough sleep. Use your lavender on your points, so on your wrist points, behind your occiput, on your thymus. Ask Angel Michael, you get your sleep. Ask Angel Michael, I'm getting in my way. Ask Angel Michael, please help me sleep. Let me go back to sleep, because insomnia is one of the things that comes with adrenal fatigue too.
it's like that you get on that cycle of you've
Mm.
ever too much adrenaline's pumping. It's like I
Yeah.
can't go to sleep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also we often go to sleep really well and then wake up. That's
Yes.
that function. It's like you get that first 2 to 3 hours of deep sleep, and then it's wake, 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 and becomes a pattern. So use some of that. Never have clear quartz, any sort of quartz in your bedroom. That's another thing that you might want to consider. Rose quartz is the only one that is an option that you could have, rose quartz, but not quartz. And yeah, archangel. I have some archangels by my bed. I have some crystals. Um, yeah, I have some salt lamps in my room, some selenite lamps. Yeah, and it really does help. It's just, what it is, Angela? It's trusting. It's trusting that divine, that you're supported and protected, because that adrenals come from fear. And if we practiced trusting, because I'm often, practice until you make perfect, or perfect until, yeah, it's really
Yeah. Well,
just
and
whatever comes in your realm of reality and whatever resonates with you. I think we're all on the same path, but maybe unique content.
right, right. And I think the message I'm, at least for me, that I keep hearing is that it's so important to take care of ourselves. This is our vehicle, our vessel, and we're not going to be at our maximum functioning and our abilities when we're not taking care of ourselves. I think we get in this, especially spiritual entrepreneurs, we get in this pattern of the doing, the go go
Yeah.
go, and we're going back to that, the energy system of the chakras, and putting out, and we're not taking the time to really make ourselves the most important thing in our life. So
Yeah. And that's been being a healer and being an empath too. One of the things that we do first thing is to take on other people's energy and become drained. That's pretty common in empaths. But once I learnt boundaries, and I teach energetic boundaries mainly because I needed to learn about it, and now I teach it. It's a wonderful. But energetic boundaries is, and one of the things that came up is you need to put yourself first, and it's not selfish. It's actually selfless, because the more we're full, the more we can help. And I've had some, I had heart palpitations once when I'd done too many healings, and some other healer was working on me at the same time, and it's all real, and your body knows. Your body knows the energy it can take in, but we consciously, and the work is conscious evolution, we consciously need to keep, and that word need, but just feel sacred. I want to take that word need out of my vocab, but you really feel sacred, because it's that need is that jaw, right? It clamps down. I need. But it also is knees as well. And your knees thrusting forward. We need to do things. But if we feel that we honor sacred and we are the goddess in our lives. It took me a while to honour the goddess in my life, and I hope that everyone doesn't take as long as I do, but, honour the goddess that you are.
Yes, the awakened goddess that you
The
are.
awakened goddess, yes, absolutely.
Well, speaking of, to wrap up, I would love to really quickly talk about the pineal gland, because there's a lot of talk about how it helps us with our third eye, our intuition, and that there's something about it getting calcified and that we can decalcify it. So can you talk about what does it mean to calcify, and tell us what do you know about that?
Yeah, well, the pineal gland sits in the two hemispheres of the brain, right in the middle. And I'll just go to my notes of what it regulates. It connects to the endocrine system with the nervous system, produces melatonin, which is our relaxant, the way we relax, and it helps with our sleep-wake cycle. So the pineal gland, if you look at where the pineal gland sits, it sits directly diagonal. Can I use my head as an anatomical specimen, I guess? So the third eye is here.
Yeah.
Between the pineal gland would sit in the middle of my brain, and then we have the zeal of consciousness chakra. Ooh. And when I was learning essential oils, that's one of the areas that energy gets in. It's also the start of the central nervous system, if we look at where it is, and that has a diagonal line to the third eye. So it's like, how do we decalcify? So if you have a calcified pineal gland, you have lethargy, lack of energy, which is lethargy, sleep cycles, similar to adrenals. Any sort of endocrine dysfunction is energy related, because the endocrine is all about energy. So it's a real disruption, and foggy brain as well. Foggy brain is to do with gut, but it's that God entry point. It's also almost like the seed of God. If we believe there's something bigger than ourselves, then how spiritually awakened are we? Because it's not about us. Right. We can turn up, we can be ourselves, we honour whatever we bring to the world. So in order to go out in the sunlight, decalcification, this is how we decalcify. Okay. Meditation, music, sunlight, connection to Mother Earth. And there's very complex ways too, but that's I'm all about simple. Don't give me anything complex, because I don't get it. But simple. Get out in the sunlight, meditate, music. So when you play music, the vibrational quality of your cells improve, right?
Yeah. They're happy.
They're happy. So left and right brain is also happy. Decalcification, and central nervous system relaxes, decalcification happens. The pineal gland is a cone shape too. Not that has anything, just a fun fact. If you look at a cone shape as far as sacred geometry too, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so we can go out with our bare feet, stand in the sun with our headphones on, with a meditation track with music behind it.
And receive receive the energy of the sun, receive the quality of the breath of Mother Earth, receive those rays of sunshine. And if there's no rays, pretend. Visualization, that's what this is about. You know, if we pretend, create a visual. I was never a visualizer. If it's not real, don't give it to me. I'm an Aquarian. I need to have facts, right? But you create a visualization. If we can feel, sense, really collect all the sensations, so make it sensational, like feel, smell, taste, see, hear. It's real. Our body doesn't know any different. So receive.
Well,
and the seal of consciousness is like, that is neck pain. You know, it also brings up past lives where we've been hung or, you know, decapitated. But that's another good. But if you have neck pain, it also releases all your neck muscles as well, if you're honoring that part of you. So if you are receiving that sunshine and relaxing that nervous system, which meditation does, right? It relaxes the nervous system, brings you back to yourself, and it's all, you know, at 0 point, coming home.
Yes, and I think that it's not too much to ask to take a certain amount of your day just for yourself. I mean, it's so simple, but so hard, you know, so, and I love that you do make it simple. That here I think, oh, there's all these complex ways that we have to decalcify the pineal gland, but in reality, it can be super simple. And I love that. So.
And I don't know about you, Angela, when you heard self-care, you know, I'm a mother of 2. I run a house. I've got a business. My husband has his own business. What? Self-care? But
who has time for that?
And I get it. So now I really, I diarise it. So I put it in my diary. So massage and, you know, getting my hair done, and things that I consider self-care, having time out to get my nails done. They're all outside. But the most important things that I do in the morning is 3 big breaths, 1 for what I'm learning, 1 for what I've learned, 1 for what I'm learning, and 1 for what I will learn. So all the lessons, your body will appreciate it too. 3 big, and if that's all you can do, perfect. 3 big breaths. Because most dysfunction happens because we hold our breath, we don't breathe enough.
Yes.
And gratitude plays a big part. And if that's all you can, three things you're grateful for in the morning as soon as you wake up. Okay, I have nothing to be grateful. Oh, yes, I do. My husband, my bed, the fact that I can get up. You know, make it really simple. Yeah. It doesn't have to be complex.
Yeah, and even before you get out of bed.
Yeah.
Don't get out of bed until you do little something for yourself.
Exactly. And that can be your routine of self-care. It doesn't, you know, we talk about 20-minute meditation, 10-minute meditation. I find 3 big breaths is a meditation in itself. It really relaxes the nervous system and brings you back home to your heart. And then how often do we hear our heartbeat?
Right.
When our adrenals are on, we hear it through our ears, right?
Yes.
Right?
It's
so
true.
You beat through, yeah, absolutely. When we quieten everything else, we just sense that beating.
Beautiful. Oh, Maria, thank you so much. I love how we just kind of navigated through the whole endocrine system, and it just like the pineal gland was just like the cherry on top. So thank you.
But it is the cherry on top. It's the cone on top. Right?
It is.
It's that conduit cone. Bring it to me now.
Yes, it's awesome.
I feel you, yeah.
Didn't even plan it like that. Yes, so thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.